Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Mr. Kungas here, and hopefully I don't get any more interruptions. But if I do, it's Discord. It's my girlfriend just talking to me. But anyway, um, this is my second, well, my third actually, time trying to like doing a let's play for the old blues mod for Hearthstone 4, and the first one. Well, it died because Paradox changed features in the game and broke my save for two series. One, the Japanese series that I started before, and this one. Well, like the previous one. And so I'm going to redo it, um, but with new features. That being tons, actually. Uh, the two main reasons why my save broke is because of these two. Because originally it was national unity. National unity was both was like you're the people's willing to fight and to get laws passed through is easier. But but it didn't really work as much because say like a country that's on the verge of collapse still had like 95% national unity, but and it's been bombed to smithereens by bombers like strategical bombers and also tactical bombers as well. It just constantly kept on getting bombed, but apparently it was like England, like they just kept on fighting on. But this, it does actually make sense that people would start thinking, yeah, I think war is the best because stability and because there are two new features, well, features, war support and for like stability and also war support. Stability being uh stability represents the people's support for the current government. High stability makes political changes easier to pass through and helps um the helps the economy run smoothly. Basically, lower stability, the worse your country is, and also the worse you can produce stuff and make things outright make things. Basically, there are some cases where like you have like negative like effects. So basically, have like negative like factory output, naval output, and you can have like actual strikes. Like you can go from like 100% stability to like zero, and you can have strikes, like normal strikes, general strikes, and like all right outright strikes, and that's not good. The same with war support. War support represents the willing for the people to pursue a war to the finish. So basically, keep on fighting until the war is over. Encouraging many laws and preparing your nation for going to war encourages and so is represented by high war support. So the higher your war support, the better your country will be. Will get ready for war. The lower it is, the most likely you will have mutinies and outright just tons of bad negatives to your fighting capability. I've actually had like negative, uh, like you can go into the negatives with this, and it's not good. Negatives is bad, real bad. Um, but it's interesting. So we're going to go ahead and play as a Brotherhood again, and this time we're going to try and well, my let's play yesterday that I scrapped because I got salty and I rage quitted because I was also at the verge of like collapse anyway. They were like banging on my doors, like these countries here, like a few of them over here, were knocking on my front door because I knocked out the NCR and I was like, okay, I'm going to take out this faction that was built that was made called the Mormon Alliance, and the Mormons are chilling right here. Um, I thought, okay, I can knock out this. this alliance and be fine. No, because when I attacked New Vegas, he left the faction and he joined. He made his own faction up with other rulers, and I don't like that feature. How a nation can be completely be crushed and be put into exile, like government with exile. I don't know where um, House would go. Look, at Mr. House, if New Vegas was completely surrounded, like I had New Vegas 100% surrounded, and he was able to uh, fight his way out. I don't know how because there's impassable points everywhere because it's a nuclear apocalypse. Places are completely um, outreached by man. You can't actually go into this area. Some completely historical terrain, like there's no hope of surviving. Um, but apparently he did, and he was able to get other followers. He actually left the faction that he was in. He left the Mormons faction and made his own faction around other people. And I was getting ready to fight the main faction. I got all my troops ready to fight this colony here and these guys and push in for here, just take on these guys. But I had to pretty much just fling my army around the place because nations like, I'm pretty sure it was these guys, and these guys, like they pushed in, and I had to fling all my troops around, stuff like that, and just had to run my troops up here. Hopefully this time it doesn't happen because I had to fight, and it was like Nazi Germany. I was losing badly, and there's no hope of surviving. Uh, but this time I'm going to play differently than what I did before, and actually create troops, actually make them because I made as much as I needed to fight a battle, to fight that war, but I looked at it like I don't need that many. I don't need that many troops because I got power armor and I had tons of robots. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. You need to make actual infantrymen and actually fight, like take out minor nations faster. Because I had to constantly kept on moving troops around, like from one side of the Western America, from like bring bring up the air map from like New Mexico all the way to Nevada, like to like like northeast California and South Nevada. That's a very far distance away, um, like 2 states away, and it's like I was prepared to fight a war, a long induced war. In the very first place, I was ready to fight a war that would take long and would take long. I wasn't ready to fight a war from one side of the country to the other, because I knocked out the Caesar's Legion and it went all haywire from there. But anyway, I'm going to try this again. Um, so what I'm going to do is we're going to first of all go through the RPG element of this mod. So we're going to put it on there, and we're going to click Justice. And we're going to also do this.
Hey.
Create units around the base. But anyway, like I was saying, we're going to grab this colony as normal. Then we're going to, because I'm going to replay as the way I did prior, but change up a bit, and also grab tons of divisions. That's what I need. Is tons, many more divisions, and actually make puppets in certain areas. Um, make like blocking states because what I'm going to do, what I did this in my Let's Plays, I'm going to, because got this mod on, I'm gonna give this guy all this land up here and make like two empires, like my empire and then his empire, basically grow it. And I'm going to see how long this will take because um, my goal is to knock out every country on the map. Well, the ones that still survive. This is like Battle Royale hardcore edition because you got tons of small states laying around the place. You got a few of them. And some of them are city states. For example, Vault City and Vegas. You got the Fiends that technically are a city state because they have got one of the vaults. Then you have full out nations like the New Californian. I don't know why there's no like. There should be like an N there. The New Californian Republic instead of the, but it's New California Republic. Okay. You got this faction, of course. Then you have this. It's like a more Nazi type related, like more Nazi version of the Brotherhood. I don't know. I played it before, just before I started to record. It's very interesting. But anyway, let's go ahead and grab let's grab some of the landing canoes because we need to actually land in places like make beachheads. Um, when it comes to places like up here, and we can't do them without having supplies or having things like that. So we have to do that. But we didn't do the normal as every single other Hearthstone game. Grab all of the necessary stuff to keep fighting on. So, and we need to make uh infrastructure like just control. Basically, just make infrastructure so we can actually get around the place easier and not have to worry about crazy nutty things. The only infrastructure place that is really high is Bakersfield. Bakersfield is where the Brotherhood originally tackled. Well, Bakersfield is what city was it prior? I think it was. I don't know the American cities very well. I know this is meant to be. Actually, let me just turn off the fog. That's counters fog. This is meant to be like Los Angeles, and to this is Los Angeles and also Saint Domingo, something like that. Something like that, and you just got like San Francisco and also the Bay Area. Like after the war, some cities were renamed, stuff like that, because that's what happened. The old world is gone, so and places change. So we're gonna have to like rebuild our army, like absolutely like rebuild. So we're only going to produce like two things currently. It's power armor and laser weapons to get these manufacturing plants up and running. So let's do that. Uh, make it even. We do need to produce some sort of a firearm just for a little bit, just to have something going. And then I'll get rid of it a bit later on. We also need to produce is convoys because we do need to make convoys too, so we can actually land troops. Uh, what I picture is when instead of making convoys, finding old wreckages of ships and using them. The same with barges, stuff like that. Like actually find them laying around the place because there's tons of ships, and there's tons of cars and stuff like that laying around the entirety of America. So, and when I picture, um, on October the 10th, 2077, Captain Maxim and his men discovered, to their horror, that the West Tech scientists at Mara force was using military prisoners as unwilling test subjects for their generally engineered forced um, F's disease, basically the FEV. How will he deal with this? Like, how will he deal with these scientists? Will he set a precedence for the Brotherhood? So basically, this is on the day of when the bombs dropped, and all basically this is like the RPG element of the Brotherhood. I mean, of like all the faction, like everyone gets this. It just sets the stage on who and what happens to each nation. So we have basically uh the value in knowledge is a greater than their sins. He's he's sworn them, for there is such thing as too much science. There is too much science, but there is like to know what they've done is to also that we can prevent what they've done. So like it's saying like we know how they did it, so we can always prevent that science from ever happening. So like that sort of technology or that sort of thing from happening. And like the FEV program was made, like I said, as to well, the FEV was making super soldiers, and one of the outcomes was people like wrong person, um, is these guys super mutants, and well, these were these were people that were made out of the FEV program, and some of the Summoners did because they're unisex. Basically, they like the very first Summoners were male and soldiers from the Chinese army, and they were decided to go ahead and make them because so like they have an upper advantage in combat, super strength, and if they die, they're Chinese. Doesn't matter. But Um, in this case, there is the Scribe Council and the Paladin Council. What is a scribe? Scribes are the scientists and the people that take care of the technology. Paladins are like the knights and the soldiers and the high command of the army of the Brotherhood. Paladins is like a major to a colonel elder because they use the old rank system like knights and all that stuff. They have got knight sergeants, all that. Elder is like a 5-star general. It's like the president standard in the army, basically like your high rank military personnel. So we're gonna go with because max planning is more important than like planning speed, because planning speed, fine, we can sit there all day and let them just grab documents and read up, but we need to make sure that our advantage in combat is better than just going, okay, this is the speed, okay, okay, we're gonna go here, attack now, instead of like saying like actually planning out events fast, like probably like okay, so we're going to hit because it'll give you tons of advantages, and max planning is more important than playing speed because playing speed we can already counteract that later on in a focus tree. So we're going to go with max planning. The glow. I'm trying to explain the Fallout. I'm going to explain the Fallout lore as best as I can when it comes to this mod, because there is a lot of stuff when it comes to Fallout that does kind of make sense, but sometimes doesn't when it comes to Fallout, and I want to explain this as much as I can and to the best of my ability. In 200 and like 1234, um, basically an emerging faction of the Brotherhood led by Sergeant Dale Allen present the the council of the elders, basically, like all the elder people, so like Maxim himself, and a few other elders from the old world, like from like the because like you could sort of say like it's crazy. It's like a close. It's like a Herbert Kingdom, sort of like the North Koreans, but even but crazy, but like technology. And want to keep technology to themselves to make sure that no, because to stop events from the old world from happening again, but it's already happening. For example, at this point, 2275, events of Fallout 4 are taking place, and Fallout 5 is so Fallout 4 is about to start. Like the events, Fallout New Vegas is about to start as well. Like all these events are happening. So yeah, discovering nights. Uh, permission to expand to permission to explore the remains of the West Tech research facility in the search of technology archives. Uh, uh, the approve or denial of his passage will represent forever within the Brotherhood. We're going to say yes because max planning, nah, we can get that fixed anyway, and land doctrine research minus 10%, and also division speed plus 10 plus 5. That's actually is really good. That's nice and basic, because with what the ground we are fighting on is like really damaged territory, really damaged grounds. Yeah, I think the division speed is going to be good, especially for fighting in the Vipers. The war with the Vipers was a skirmish like any other, basically fighting these guys, but a bit worse. So yeah, and hopefully things go great. Like these guys still combat. Okay, the Vipers. In 2155, the Brotherhood sent a handful of squads out into the wasteland to track the Vipers down. To the elders, it seemed a glorified training exercise, as they were convinced that a small group of disorganized, so like that a small detachment of Brotherhood troops in power armor be sufficient, will be tough enough to deal with a band of raiders, no matter how large. One, bro- one Brotherhood squad led by High Elder Maxim II himself, basically there were two. He had a son, and the Maxim took over. The Maxim family is very old, and there's been other elders of different descent of people, but Maxim himself is like a god. It's like Kim Jun, like is like the Kim family, how they are believed in as gods. To the Brotherhood, they are the people that they look up to. Look at the Vipers. So himself, look at the Vipers. Um, ex- expecting the Vip, so expecting the Raiders to break and run at the sight of such a heavy armed force. Maxon did not take in account the Vipers' vel and velocity, or their poisoned weapons. A single arrow nicked the High Elder while 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 he had his helmet off, leading to his death a few hours later. This is the events of what do the Brotherhood soldiers do in that engagement, did they retreat or did Brotherhood avenge Elder Maxon? And I guess get Spineless, which gains minus 10%, uh, and also a division defense on core territory plus 10%. Revengeant, like a Vengeful, basically attack speed goes up, like attack on core territory plus 10, division speed plus 10%. So basically, like, they move faster. Like, my troops will run pretty much instead of walk a lot more. I like how there is a plasma weapon, even though plasma weapons in the Brotherhood are forbidden in some ways. Old America. Brotherhood was not the only pre-war military outfit to survive the end of America, and that became overwhelming a part of which the rise of the Enclave. These guys. The Enclave. Oh boy. After years of passive observation and the stubbornness, the Brotherhood joined the NCR in the final battle at the Navajo outpost. This was in many ways the opening of a new chapter for the Brotherhood of Steel. This place is like the tech-savvy place of like America, basically, and this does affect us and affects us later on in the game if we choose these two options. So yeah, if you're playing this, choose wisely because sometimes the NCR can, if you choose the wrong one, the NCR can actually say no to some events in the game. So, but you don't actually know that it's hard coded in the actual events, but without actually you knowing. Sucks, but that happens. The war with Enclave was the greatest opposition the Brotherhood had faced in decades. Hundreds of pieces of advanced technology and ancient secrets ritual for the taking. To this end, the Brotherhood brought its awful might into battle, massing over 1,000 paladins in various bunkers and subgroups around the wasteland. However, during the battle, it became apparent that the same thing mass that was the NCR Great Army was vastly outnumbered and suffered heavy casualties. The morale of the Brotherhood men, wait, no, was paramount. Did they did they grab the technology? Did they follow their primary drill? Or did they protect the men and women of the NCR? Therefore, only the Brotherhood survived, so could protect. So this is what I mean, like with like the Brotherhood stuff like that. Um, one, they give you something that you can't actually get until later on in the game. Where we can later on when you can. And there's this. Well, basically let the NCR dispute, like, just track them secrets, like the Navarro secrets will be ours. We defended the men and women of Maxon, earning their loyalty. We're going to choose the Maxon one. The choice to defend the men and women of the NCR was a costly one. Dozens of Brotherhood paladins gave their lives in the heat, and so like in the heated close quarter combat, CQB. Even as the Enclave destroyed hundreds of records and schematics in the depths of the Navarro bunker, many apparel of the NCR Many apparently of the NCR never okay never understood the depth of this surf of this place. Uh, the morale the morale turning point so like the morale turning point for the Brotherhood was the growing up within the Brotherhood territory. They understood many than any of the group, and following their disbandment after the war, went on went on went on to become a series of militias and within the Brotherhood. Oh, okay. So so many divisions were disbanded, right? And now they are back again. Right, I get you. Oh, becoming part of this group. Uh, we actually do need to make groups. We got Head Paladin Cannon, and we got two other leaders. We've got Lieutenant Smith, who um, was an ex Enclave uh general, and left the Enclave. And we have a Paladin Miller that's going to be part of the other group, the Northern group. So this is what we can now do. The blueprint recovery, uh, secure like an offer from the Brotherhood. Let's do this one. Let's see if I can do it, because if I don't, well, we tried. What we're going to do now is we're going to evacuate our troops from here because we don't need them over here. We need them over here a lot more. These divisions will be deployed over here. Like what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be fixing up over here, because what I imagine when you have a level 10 uh infrastructure is like every single building, every single road is completely clean, fixed up, like an entire skyscraper becomes a house for thousands of people. Because that's the weird thing about Fallout. Like you see huge ass cities and people just don't go into them because they're scared of what is in them. It's like if people like literally grew up and actually said, okay, let's as a civilization, as a group of people, let's help to rebuild America. But there is other groups like the Institute in the East and people like the Enclave and the Siege Legion that doesn't want that. They want to destroy America. Like they want to destroy these civilizations that have been built up, and got raiders that constantly try to prevent this. It's like no wonder why so many people in this faction, in no wonder why people like, for example, uh in like California or in the East just don't want to rebuild because they are scared to. To me, it's like it's just one group of people ruin it for everyone. That's the annoying thing about it. Like we basically we'll be able to do all of this, but I'm gonna like do like this one and go down here because we do need to do this one early on in the game because it does make sense, and do this one because you get some funky ass things.